Wolffight Products is on location at Warrior Fight Store, located in Pickering, Ontario, where today it's our pleasure to chat with James the Sandman Irvin. How you doing, James?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thanks. James, who gave you the handle, the Sandman?
Actually followed me from high school football. One of my coaches gave it to me there, and then it followed me to junior college and to a big university, and it just kind of stuck with me into MMA. I didn't care for nicknames, to tell you the truth. I never wanted one, but a manager insisted on it. Actually, Rampage is the one who kept on calling me and wouldn't let it go, and that just stuck. And now it's it's one of my biggest coin names.
After playing football at college, what directed you along the lines of MMA?
I was disgusted with team sports, to tell you the truth. Disgusted with coaches and just the lack of interest that some players want to put in. I can't control how hard other people train, so this is something I got to go into, and the work shows. The harder I train, the more the payoffs were. So it's something I just kind of dove right into.
There are many accomplished gyms within Cali. Do you stick specifically to one gym, or do you travel around to get different facets of the MMA sport? You have to travel around. At least on the West Coast, there's no complete gyms. I get most of my training done at Fairtex, though, which is San Francisco, which is my Muay Thai camp. But also there's really good black belts there, so I get a lot of training done there. Now, you were born in Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. Have you trained at all the Tito? I trained them before in the past. When I lived down in with Quentin Jackson, right outside of Covina in Southern California for a while. So we trained there with Timo Yama. He came in a few times, but for the most part, I've kind of just crossed paths with Tito. I've never really trained with him in no big camps. A lot of people cross paths with you. Oh, a few, yeah. Give us a typical day training for yourself. Well, normal days for us, they're real simple. They're just the same thing. It's real repetitive over and over again. Especially when you start a camp 8 to 10 weeks out. It's just it's usually cardio or some kind of conditioning in the morning, and then you have a ground practice or a striking practice. You have those twice a day. So it's just the same repetition over and over again. There's no fancy fancy gimmick, no fancy setup. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. Especially the closer you get to a fight, you don't learn nothing new. It's just about conditioning and refining the stuff you do have. Is there any aspect of your game that you really think you should concentrate on to improve, or like? I'm a stand-up fighter. I want to stand and strike. It's funny. My first 4 or 5 fights, I just stood and I took people on the ground and beat them down there, and then people are running their mouths about him just being a ground game and no stand-up guy. And then I started, getting on a lucky streak and knocking people out. And now it's just the opposite. People seem to think I don't do jiu-jitsu, which is kind of retarded. But fights start standing. And I don't remember too many great 8-second submissions, to tell you the truth. But people seem to remember knockouts. So that's the way I fight. Would you consider winning the WEC title your greatest accomplishment so far within the sport? Oh, no, I wouldn't consider that so much. I mean, I won a few belts on the way up. That was just getting me to the UFC. UFC was my dream to fight in there. So, I'm accomplished that every time I fight in the UFC. I just fought the best fighter, pound for pound, on the whole planet. So, I don't have too many goals except for to fight for the UFC championship belt someday. Cool. Which KO will give you the greatest pleasure, the flying knee to Terry Martin or the 8-second record-winning Superman right to? Actually, it was my Hector Ramirez fight. I had a knockout. Yeah, there. Actually, it was in my hometown too. The first UFC they had at Arco Arena, which is in Sacramento. That meant a lot more to me because I was coming back from. I got just punished the whole first round. He beat me up, and that was also someone that I had a hard time, mentally thinking I could beat. So going into that fight, not knowing how I was going to beat a guy, then to get him with a big knockout, that meant a lot more to me than either one of those knockouts. How disappointed were you when your fight was canceled against Rashad Evans? I was disappointed. That would have been a tough fight for me. I would tell you the truth, I'd rather fight Anderson than fight Rashad. Yeah, I'd rather stand and trade with anyone than have someone that has such a good ground game that's going to and he's a real strategic fighter. I think we might see it on Forrest tonight. I think he'll implement his game plan. He's either going to make people chase you or he'll take you down, and he's one of those guys that could hold you down for 3 whole rounds and win a fight that way. What's your prediction for Rashad Evans fight tonight? I'm not going to bet on that one. That's going to be too good of a fight. Yeah. Could go either way, right? Yeah, either way. Following the loss to Anderson Silva, you tested positive for painkillers. Was this a case of still trying to rehab from the broken foot earlier? Oh, it's funny. People want to spin that out of control and think, say I'm a drug addict, but I mean, look what I do for a living. I get hurt every fight. Something is usually hurt every single fight, and that's the first thing a doctor gives you is pain meds. So, that's just, I wasn't going to turn that fight down. There's a lot more to it, but that's the bottom line is I'm not going to turn that fight down. I mean, I would have never got a chance to fight Anderson Silva again, and that was the biggest thing is I wasn't going to turn the fight down. When's your suspension over, and when can we expect to see you back in the ring? April 19th, so I'm hoping the day after that I'll fight. So I'm sure I'll fight soon after that. Yeah. Chuck Liddell's been mentioned as a possible opponent on MMA Junkie. Who would you like to pick if you could? To fight? Yeah. Vanderlei. Really? If I could pick somewhere else, it'd be Vanderlei. Besides beating up on people, what are your other hobbies? I don't really have too many, I don't like playing golf. It's just way too stressful. I don't mind bowling too much, but I don't play video games or nothing. That's really all we do is, well, actually,
if I had a hobby, it's probably teaching people. That's kind of fun. I kind of really find a niche in that, is teaching people and instructing people at, in Muay Thai especially.
I understand your family's got a construction company. Are you still involved with that?
Not no more. I haven't had to swing a hammer for a while, but yeah, I'm a 5th generation carpenter, so that was something. Actually, when I came home from playing college football, that's what I started doing. I had my own truck, my own crew, and I was happy building houses, to tell you the truth. I never would have thought I'd get paid to fight.
What did your family think when you said that this is going to be a professional, full-time moving forward?
I'd always lived as a professional athlete. I had trained hard, and I only had a year I done playing college football, so they had been seeing me train my whole life. So it was just, an easy transition into this. And then, also you start in real small shows like Gladiator Challenge, and I worked my way up to WEC. So they saw me in these smaller shows, and they just saw me, I was lucky enough to get a lot of, on a big winning streak up to the UFC. So it wasn't as bad as, them watching me going and having some big brawl right off the bat.
Right. It's been great talking to you. Hope to see you soon back in the ring, healthy and.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.